How much money a breeder makes is something that is on everyone's mind. Nobody's got the balls to ask.
Come again?
That's not really the question. The question is, how much money do I make?
What the hell?
Go ask that other guy.
Who, me?
Me?
You kidding me? How much money I make? What are you, the DEA? The question is that? And you're definitely not getting that answer.
Why? Why?
And the reason you're not getting that answer is because I've been breeding for 8 years. I also live in Texas and I'm on 2 acres. So if you're asking this question and you're living in an apartment like, say, New York, there's no way that we can relate. I pay $2.30 for gas while you're paying $3 something. My avocados are super cheap because they come right over from Mexico. Yours are not.
Not.
My dog food is about 30% cheaper than yours, even though it's the same brand.
That's true.
So asking me directly how much do I make, it's not gonna really give you the answer you're looking for, unless you're that damn good. So instead of asking how much money do breeders make, maybe the question should be asked, as a breeder, where and how do I breed to maximize profits? Now that's a whole different question within itself. Now just for the record, guys, before I come on and I make a video, I do this for about a good, I don't know, 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes.
So guys, this is the part of the video that's actually gonna slow down a little bit. Slow down a little bit.
Slow motion for me, slow motion.
But it's really important that you watch. We've actually set up 3 avatars with 3 different business models. We have one person that is breeding nothing but females, another person that's breeding half males and half females, and somebody that's only studying. These are real life numbers with real life results. And even though I'm using avatars, I actually use people that I consult on a regular basis to share their numbers with you.
Are you serious?
So mind you, the first 2 years is kind of slow, but it's very important that you listen and you see. This way, you as a new breeder can set true expectations for your business for the first 2 years, which, by the way, those are the hardest years.
Please welcome the revolution.
All right, I'm not gonna talk your ear down. Let's see how much money they make, and let's see who's the first to 300,000. First up, we got Simone. Hey, what's going on, ese? Simone is a Mexican-American, or actually 3rd generation American more than Mexican, but it don't matter. Simone decides he wants to breed, but he doesn't want to breed like everybody else. All he wants to do is stud. He's a single guy. He just bought an apartment. He's living in LA, and he just wants to make extra little cash for gas and maybe taking a girl out to eat or something. So Simone was able to muster up about $5,000 after working, odd jobs and whatnot for the last 2 or 3 years. He decided to go ahead and buy from one of the most recognized kennels in California. He figured, hey man, if they got a lot of marketing, I could ride the wave. So Simone bought a pup for $5,000, last pick of the litter, and he brought it home. So for all intents and purposes for that first year, when you look at Simon's line of kibble, you're gonna see it says $40 times 4 because it's $40 a week and there's 4 weeks in a month. And then you multiply that by 12 for 12 months out of the year. Between $5,000 he paid for the pup, plus $1,920 for food and miscellaneous stuff, Simone is down $6,920 that first year. You can't breed the pup when he's younger than 12 months, so he's just down $6,920. But not to be outdone, I got my dude Mike. Yeah. Now Mike is in the state of Texas, same place I'm at, and he's living on 3 acres, along with his wife and kids. After saving up money, working overtime and whatnot for several years, Mike is able to budget $12,000 for the acquisition of 2 females and 2 males. Now Mike has been following me online, and he's actually seen the video where I show me feeding a 100-pound dog for only $60 a month. Mike realizes this is the best diet, is also cheaper, and he implements it into his program. So he buys 2 females and he buys 2 males for a total of $12,000. If you look at the line where it says raw, it's $60 a month per dog. So it's $60 times 4 dogs times 12 months. You get a total of $2,880. When you add it all up, Mike is down $14,880, almost 15 grand the first year. Next up, we have Nina. She's a stay-at-home mom. She lives in upstate New York. She does this right now as a side hustle, but eventually she wants this to be a full-blown business. Right now, she has 2 little ones, She wants to make sure that they're already in school when it's time to start whelping litters. Her and her husband are financially stable, so she doesn't need to see income like right away. Nina has a $12,000 budget so she could acquire pups. Nina has also been watching QBN. She's realized that there's more than one way to skin the cat. I've shown business models where you only stud, where you have males and females, and where you have only females. And at this time, Nina feels most comfortable just acquiring females. So she acquires 4 females at $3,000 each for the $12,000. And if you look at the line where it says kibble, you're gonna see it's $40 a week times 4 puppies times 4 weeks in a month times 12 months in a year. And that brings her kibble total to $7,680. When you tally up the whole amount, it comes down to $19,680. She's almost down 20 grand. Now bear with me, the first 2 years are gonna be a little bit slow, but you gotta get that information so you can see how things advance from that point on. Simone is chilling. He is loving his dog, man. He even named his dog Spike. So Simone has been listening to QBN as well, and he's been busy marketing his dog online. Just getting him out there, just telling the dog story. Now, when we go to the financials for Simone, on year number 2, we know he's carrying a previous balance of $6,920. And that was from the original purchase and the dog food for the first year. So starting year number 2, he's in the whole $6,920 because he's been putting his dog out there. He actually was able to stud his dog 3 times. He wasn't interested in getting pups because he lives in a 1-bedroom apartment and they also have an HOA. He's only allowed 1 dog. So he was able to stud him 3 times and he made $3,000. Now again, we go to kibble and he has another expenditure of $1,920 for the year and he's in the whole $5,840. Mike's year number 2 is very similar to that of Simon's. He's carrying over a negative amount of $14,880. But because he's been doing his due diligence and marketing his dog, telling his dog story, being his dog's agent, he was able to stud each dog twice for a total of 4 studdings, $4,000. Now Mike does get a break because he does feed raw, so it's another $2,880 for the year, bringing his total to negative $13,760. Now we head up to upstate New York, and Nina is starting to feel a little bit of the pressure. What I mean by that is she's already carrying over $19,680 in debt from the previous year puppy purchases and food. She now has 4 mouths to feed and she's feeding kibble. And again, she has another $7,680 to spend. When you tally it all up, it comes up to $27,360. That's year number 2. These are realistic numbers that you can expect. And as you see these numbers, you're going to start realizing more and more why it is that so many kennels come into being and then don't exist anymore. And it comes down to these first 2 years. Everything is moving slow, and you're having to pay out of pocket.
Pay me out of your own pocket.
Real quick, let me say this as a disclaimer. Now, we all know that when it comes to breeding, you could have real small litters, you could have real big litters. Puppies could pass away, and so can moms, and even dads for that matter. For all intents and purposes, I'm going to keep litter sizes throughout this conversation at no more than 7. And moms are not going to die, and neither are puppies. Mind you, in real life, it happens.
What happened?
But I'm going to tell you what was told to me when I first started breeding. It all balances out at the end.
It all works out in the end, doesn't it?
What I mean by that is, you may have a litter where you only have 3 pups this time around, and then the following litter you got 13. That's where it balances out. So take what I'm telling you with a grain of salt.
Take everything I say with a grain of salt.
Know that the numbers we're talking about are realistic, and I've just kept it consistent so we don't have wild swings. So Simone in his 3rd year, he's walking with a little pep in his step. You know why? He's been marketing now for 3 years, and the pups that his dog studied last year are now 12 months old. He's able to point the finger at them, show them in social media, show what his stud can do. So Simone carries over a previous balance of negative $584. But as a reward for his hard work, he's able to stud his boy twice for $3,000 in only the first 6 months of the year. If you notice on kibble, I made a slight change, and that's the same $40 times 4, which equals a month, multiplied by 6, because now I'm dividing each year in half, and you'll see why here in a minute. So Simone's bill for the first 6 months is $960 of kibble, and it brings his total to negative $800. Simone is finally seeing the light.
Do you see the light?
And next up is Money Mike. Yeah.
Little razzle dazzle, it's all right.
My name is Money Mike, player.
He's picked up that little nickname because he's finally seeing a little money. See, Mike walks into the third year with a negative balance of $13,760, but he's also been marketing, and both of his boys were picked up twice to stud for $2,500. Now, Mike charges a little bit less because the state of Texas is a little cheaper. He doesn't have state tax or any of that stuff. We'll talk more about that later on. But for all intents and purposes, in the first 6 months, studying alone, Mike just made 10 grand. And if that wasn't enough, his females are ready to be bred for the first time, and he breeds them. Now, they each have 7 pups, but Mike decides to keep 1 puppy from each litter. Therefore, he's only able to sell 6, and he's able to sell the other 6 for $2,000 average, and he makes $24,000 out of it. Now, here's another little disclaimer. Every time a female gives birth, there's a $1,500 charge automatic for a C-section. And again, I just did this so we could keep the numbers stable. So Mike had 2 females pregnant, so he has a cost of $3,000 because of the C-sections. But Mike, the smart cat that he is, keeps feeding raw. And if you notice the line in raw, now it says $60 times 6 because there's now 6 total dogs he's got, times 6 for the next 6 months. So his food bill is $2,160. When you add it all up, Mike is now up $15,080. It's not much, but he's in the black. And Nina finally sees year number 3 roll around. She now has her kids in school, and she is prepared to whelp litters, which is a good thing because coming into year 3, Nina is down $27,360. And she's gonna have to fork out of pocket $10,000. She's got 4 females that need to be studied by males. So Nina looks over at Mike. She sees he's only charging $2,500. She secures 4 studying for her females for a total of $10,000. The 4 females are bred, and they each have 7 puppies. Nina decides she's going to keep the top female from every single litter, and she sells the remaining pups at $2,000 a piece, bringing home finally $48,000. Now wait, don't get all happy. We got to pay $6,000 worth of C-sections. Remember, $1,500 a piece. There's 4. If you look at the kibble line now, we're paying $40 for a bag of kibble times 8 puppies times 4 weeks in a month times 6 months and half a year for a total of $7,680. Nina is still in the red, $3,040, but you know what? She's seen the light. So the second half of year 3 pops up, and guess what? Simone is jumping around with House of Pain because his marketing has continued to pay off. He has now been able to stud his dog 2 more times for $3,000, making him $6,000 for the last 6 months of the year. That's $1,000 a month. And again, his kibble charge is $960, but it brings his grand total to $4,240. And Simone is in the black. How about them Raiders? Next up, we got Mike, and he is excited, and so is his family. Now, Mike has 2 teenage kids, but you know what? He actually bought a camera with that extra 15 grand he had lying around, and his kids are required to take 2 pictures a day and post them on social media. Something as simple as that can give you amazing results. So his previous balance of $15,080 is still there. And again, we're just basing ourselves off of these numbers right here. This is not full net. We're not including facilities. We're not including a lot of other things. Just giving you a roundabout. Mike and his family get rewarded for marketing, and they get 4 more studdings at $2,500 a piece, and that's $10,000. And for Mike, it went so well the first time, he went ahead and bred his females again, back to back. This time around, they each had 7 pups. Again, he keeps the best pup out of each litter. This time around, he just made 30 grand. Now, don't get too happy. He now owes $3,000 worth of C-sections. Luckily for Mike, even though his pack is growing. If you look at the raw line, it's $60 times 8 pups times 6 months for the half year. Comes up to $2,880. Mike and his family are up $49,200 by the end of the 3rd year. If these numbers seem familiar to you, or you made a lot more or a lot less, please go ahead and share it. Leave us a comment below. So Nina heads into the second part of her third year. In the red, $3,040. Considering she was down 27 not too long ago, she knows she's going to get in the black. So she's not going to pay anything for male studding because she paid for that in the earlier part of the year. And she goes ahead and she breeds all 4 of her females. And all 4 of the females have 7 pups each. She again keeps 1 puppy from every single litter. And she comes out with 60 grand in her pocket. She had to pay $6,000 in C-section. She was okay with that. And her kibble bill has now gone up. Look at the line. $40 times 12 puppies times 4 weeks in a month times 6 months and half a year. The bill comes up to $11,520. And this time, Nina pays it with a smile because Nina's now up $39,440 by the end of the third year. Simone is finally at his 4th year doing this. So he arrives with a positive balance of $4,240. Not only that, his dogs are looking amazing. He even managed to bump into a movie star in Hollywood, and they even took a picture with his dog. So now Simone is charging $3,500 for studding. Marketing is so good, he's been able to stud 3 times for the first 6 months of the year. Simone just got paid $10,500. And again, the kibble bill's $960. He pays it no problem. And Simone, so far, first half of the 4th year, he's up $13,780. Not bad, I say. Money Mike comes into the 4th year knowing that momentum is important to have, but even more importantly to have is peace and quiet in your life. And that's part of the reason why we use NuVet and NuJoint DS. And DS stands for double strength. If you didn't know, NuVet is actually a multivitamin. These 2 supplements put together, it's almost as if though you're bottling a superhero for your dog. It gives your dogs joint support no matter what age, and gives them the vitamins they need so their body functions can work correctly. And even more importantly for Simone, Mike, and Nina, NuVet actually supports canine reproduction. We even use NuVet and NuJoint DS prenatally, during the pregnancy, and postnatally. We also give it to our males in order to support their sperm count. So do me a favor, we're gonna go ahead and leave our code up here. It's 513237. You cannot buy this stuff in stores. And if you go to the website, you need a code to be able to order. So make sure to write it down. Either way, we'll go ahead and drop a link below in description. Now, Mike walks into this first part of his 4th year with $49,200 in the black. And in the first 6 months, he's able to stud each of his males 3 times for a total of 6 studdings at $3,000 a piece for $18,000. There's no females being bred as he's giving them a break for this cycle. And if you look at the line where it says raw, it's $60 now by 8 dogs times 6 months and half a year for a total of $2,880. And Mike is now up $64,320. Now Nina is overly excited. She walks into the first part of the 4th year up $39,440. Now Nina knows that this particular cycle, she's not going to breed her females, but she's going to have them bred next cycle. And Nina likes to get things out the way, so she goes ahead and forks over $12,000 worth for 4 male studdings. She just decided, hey, let me get it out the way now. And she takes her lumps, paying $11,520 worth of kibble. Now she's still in the black, but her number got lowered to $15,920. She's not stressing it because she knows soon her girls are going to be dropping pups. Simone is just cruising for the second part of the 4th year. I mean, he's already showing up with a surplus of $13,780. And his dog gets studded 5 times in the last half of the year at $4,000 a stud. That's $20,000. Again, his kibble bill is $960. He pays it like it's nothing. And he now has $32,820 in the black. Pues claro que sí, cabrón. Mike shows up in the second half of the year already in the black and feeling good. Kids are pushing on the marketing. Wife is definitely happy. And Mike walks in the black, $64,320. Kids are doing the marketing, so, you know, Mike is promising them a PlayStation if we get so many, so on and so forth. And Mike gets 4 studding at $3,000. That's $12,000 in his pocket. And both of his females drop 7 pups again. And again, he's going to keep the best pup off of each litter. This time, he's selling the remaining 12 pups at $3,000 a piece for a total of $36,000 in the black. Now he's got a $3,000 C-section bill, which doesn't look as daunting as maybe the first time. And again, he keeps feeding raw. And even though his bill is $3,600, it's really not that bad for 10 pups. And when we add up his numbers, His second half total is $105,720. Now, Nina, she stuck to her business plan. She started out slow, and she wanted to start out slow so she could put her kids in school. She's put all her ducks in a row, and she's ready to get her business plan going. So she's walking into the second half of the fourth year up $15,920. She doesn't have to pay for male studding because she did that in the first part of the year. So she breeds 4 of her females. They all have 7 pups. So this time around, Nina is not keeping a pup. She bred 4 of her females. They each had 7 pups, and she sold them at a $3,000 price average per pup for a total of $84,000 in the black. She had to pay $6,000 worth of C-section, and her kibble bill's pretty high at $11,520, but Nina is now overall $82,400 in the black, and she's actually feeling pretty good about herself. Now year 5 rolls around, and here's where things could get a little tricky. That's all, just a little tricky.
That's right, on time is tricky.
You'll see what I mean. So Simone walks into the first part of the 5th year up $32,820 in the black. He's able to stud his dog 5 times for $3,500, and he makes $17,500 off of that. Now, if you're asking, why is it that Simone is able to stud his one dog more times average than, say, Mike? The answer's pretty much in front of you.
I beg your pardon?
You see, Simone only has one dog. He's focusing all of his energy on that one dog through marketing and through everything else he's doing. Mike, on the other hand, he's got females, he's got 2 males, he also has puppies. Yes, his kids are helping out, but they cannot dedicate the same amount of time that Simone is putting into just this one dog. Now, Simone has to do something this time around that he hadn't done before.
What?
So he decided that now was the time for him to keep a pup. He actually studied a 6th time, but rather for money, he studied for a pup, called a pup back. And he did that because he realizes that his dog is going up in age, and he wants to keep this going with his dog's son. Now, mind you, he's well aware he's either going to have to place that pup in his mom's house, or he's going to have to move out. That's not an issue for him, because he knows this actually gives him a little change in his pocket. So he's okay with it. Again, his kibble cost for the 6 months is $1,920, and he's now up $48,400. Way to go, Simone. Mike walks into his 5th year already up $105,720. In between both of his males, he's able to do 5 studdings at $3,000 each for the first 6 months of the year, giving him a total of $15,000. This time he breeds 4 of his females. They each have 7 pups. He's not keeping any pups this time around, and he's paying $6,000 for a C-section. Again, his raw bill is $3,600. It brings up Mike's total to $223,120 in the black. That's just in the first half of year number 5. Nina is over here in New York, and she's excited. She's walking into her 5th year up $82,400, and even though she has to spend $12,000 on studs, she's okay with it because this time she's going to breed 8 females. She's going to breed 4 of her original females and 4 females who are now adults. They each are having 7 pups. That's 56 pups at $3,500. That's $196,000. She did have to pay $12,000 for C-sections and continue paying her $11,520 for kibble. She don't care. She's up $242,880. Lastly, Simone comes in to the second half of the 5th year. All that marketing work is definitely paying off. He gets another 5 studdings at $4,000 for $20,000. He also understands that going forward, as his dog ages, he's not going to get as many studding opportunities. That's all right. He's got a relief pitcher in the waiting. So walking into this last part, he's already up $48,400. We go ahead and add the $20,000 for that second half of the year, minus the $1,920 for food. Simone is up $66,480 in the black. Not shabby when he's coming into this only wanting some pocket change. Mike, on the other hand, he didn't come in here for the pocket change. He wanted to set up a good breeding program, and he wanted to do this full time. So he comes into the second half of the year up $223,120. He's able to stud both of his studs twice in the first 6 months at $3,000 a piece for $12,000. He bred 4 females at 6 pups a piece, $4,000 a pup for $96,000. He paid $6,000 for the C-section. He paid $4,320 for raw, and it leaves him with a grand total at the end of the 5th year of $320,800 in the black. And lastly, Nina. She walks into the last part of the 5th year up $242,880. She doesn't have to pay for male studdings as she already took care of that the first part of the year. So now Nina breeds 8 of her newer females. The 4 original females are now retired. She decides she's not keeping any puppies this time around. She has 8 females that have 7 pups each for 56 pups, selling them on an average of $3,500 for a whopping $196,000. She went ahead and paid the $12,000 for C-section and the $11,520 for kibble, leaving her with a grand total of $415,360. Now wait. There's something I haven't told you, and that's that New York and California have a state tax. As for Texas, 0.
0 to crooked.
0! That's our state tax. Also, there's something else you need to take into consideration, and that's the cost of living. We went into the Missouri Economic Research website and found this map showing the cost of living index by state. California is the second highest cost of living state, index at 138.5. New York is somewhat up there at 125.9. And Texas is all the way down at 92.7. So we ran the number for the taxes. New York tax is 8.85%. And California is 7.25%. So when you go to Simone, out of that 66,480, we have to subtract 4,819.80 cents. Also, when you go to Nina, off of that 415,360, we have to subtract 36,759 with 36 cents. That's just in taxes alone. Now, if I correlate the cost of living when compared to Texas and California, you're actually only getting 67 cents on the dollar, meaning that 61,660 and 20 cents really equals $41,312.33. In buying power in the state of Texas. Went ahead and did the same thing with New York. They're off a little better, 74 cents on the dollar, bringing that 378,664 left over after taxes below 300,000 to 280,164 and 47 cents. What the fuck? Of buying power in the state of Texas. Whereas Mike, he keeps his full 320,800 because he is in the state of Texas. We got no taxes. Damn! And we're the lower of the 3 as far as cost of living index. Now, if you want to know how it is that you can feed the best diet that your dog could ever have, feeding them raw on a daily basis, and saving more than half of what you're spending on kibble, click on this next video and I'm going to show you how. It's been Raul from the Q, catching you on this next video.